Yep, we are back in the building. What is going on? Happy Friday. Wait a minute. Are we live yet? Come on, YouTube. Come on. Catch up with me. Yep, we are back in the building. And we're caught up. Cool. All right. So YouTube caught up with me. We are back. We are live. And we had to bring back my man Keek from Keek on the mic. How you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great, doing great. I'm happy to have be back on your show. And we're gonna have a good time today. Talk some Bears.
Yes, we are. So you see the title, you see the thumbnail, so you know what we're doing. For the first time on the channel, we are doing a Bear mock draft. This is going to be a 3-round mock draft, and we are going to do this mock draft with the assumption that the Chicago Bears signed Trey Smith and Drew Dalman in free agency. So that means we will have signed 2 offensive linemen in free agency, so we don't necessarily have to go with an offensive lineman with pick 10. And then we'll see how the board falls out, and then we'll make pick 10, pick 39, 41, and 72, and then we'll see the results after that. But we're going to wait a few minutes for some people to come up in here before we start the mock draft. But Keek, man, a lot of chatter this week on Bears Twitter and the Chicago sports world. The biggest thing that I think that's happening this week, and I made a video about it the other day, is that they were talking about on ESPN 1000 about the possibility of the Chicago Bears cutting Cole Kmet to save $10 million in cap space. And I'm like, why would you cut one of the best tight ends in football for cap space when we have a lot of cap space? It makes no sense. What are your thoughts on the possibility of cutting Cole Kmet, man?
I don't like it whatsoever, and I think it's people just trying to get clicks right at this point. I think Ben Johnson's going to find a way to elevate Cole Kmet to a whole new level. I think he's going to be a really important piece for Caleb Williams' development and taking him to the next level. He's going to be Caleb Williams' safety blanket. Everyone knows that Shane Waldron, Thomas Brown, all the coordinators that Cole Kmet has dealt with, they didn't use him right. Cole Kmet is a vertical threat. Once again, that safety blanket for Caleb Williams, big time target. There's a reason why Ryan Poles paid him all that money on the extension just a couple of years ago. I don't think there's no way it happens. And I know they're saying that the Bears can get probably like a second or third round pick in return. I don't want the second or third round pick in return. I want Cole Kmet on the Bears.
Yeah, I would agree. I think he is much too valuable of an asset for you to just cut him for money that, again, we're not in cap constraint. We're not like the Kansas City Chiefs and we only have like $15 million in cap space or whatever. We have money. So we don't need to cut a Cole Kmet for money. That's stupid to me. When you have a tight end, and we know how valuable the tight end is because a good tight end is a quarterback's best friend or one of them. You see the relationship out there between quarterback and tight end. Mahomes and Kelsey, Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, Jalen Hurts and Dallas Goedert. So you see how integral a good tight end can be to a quarterback in their development. So why in the hell would you send or cut one of the best quarterbacks in the league and Cole Kmet for what, and then try to draft one or sign one? Like, it doesn't make sense to save money. Like, I mean, he's making what, $12 million a year, so it's not like he's making a boatload of money. I mean, it doesn't make sense to me. That would not be a good move in my opinion.
Yeah, it reminds me of when Mike Martz was the Bears OC, and the first thing he did when he came in, he's like, "Hey, I don't want Greg Olsen." Are you serious right now, Mike Martz? Like, you don't want Greg Olsen, right? And they shipped off Greg Olsen, and I still feel like that was one of the worst moves in Chicago Bears history. That would be second if we got rid of Cole Kmet. I think Cole Kmet would go somewhere else with a good quarterback, good offensive game plan, and they would utilize him to his potential. And that's why I think Ben Johnson's going to come in. You look at Ben Johnson's past. He's had guys like Sam Laporta, right? A vertical threat. I don't think Sam Laporta is any better than Cole Kmet. I just don't think Cole Kmet's been used right during his time in Chicago. So Cole Kmet's going to be a big asset to this offense. He's going to have a big year. That's my prediction.
Yeah, and it makes all the difference in the world when you have a coaching staff and a coach in particular that knows how to get the best out of their personnel, and that is what Ben Johnson is going to do. So to your point, Cole Kmet definitely was not used properly last year, clearly. I mean, there were games where he didn't even show up. He didn't have a target or a pass or nothing. Like, that is not how you utilize a good tight end. So, not sure. Yeah, we need to just kill all that nonsense. Now, if you want to get rid of a tight end on the Bears, you can get rid of Gerald Everett because he was useless. Like, that dude did nothing last year, so get rid of him.
And save $5.5 million by getting rid of Gerald Everett. So you could save money if you want to, and then just go draft a young tight end to complement Cole.
Definitely. All right, let's get into this mock draft. So we are using the Pro Football Network mock draft simulator here. And we are going to do a 3-round mock draft. Now, before we get into this mock draft, I need to let you all know. Let me see if I can make this bigger real quick. Oh, did I just do that right? Okay, yeah, we're good. All right, let me scroll up. Before we do this mock draft, I am doing it, or I should say, me and Keek are doing this off the assumption that the Chicago Bears have signed Trey Smith and Drew Dalman in free agency. So that means that we have 2 offensive linemen that we have added in free agency at the very minimum. So that is not a position that we will necessarily need to attack with the 10th pick in the draft. Not to say that we're not going to draft any lineman, because that would be foolish, but not really something that we have to do with the 10th pick, given the fact that we signed Dalman and Smith in free agency. So with that out of the way, the Bears are our team, obviously. We're doing a 3-round mock draft. We're going to do it at the normal speed so we can see how the draft board unfolds. Keek, you ready to rock and roll, my dude?
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get it.
Let's go. Let's enter the solo draft. Boom. All right. So let's see what Tennessee does with their first pick. Oh, this is fast. Wow. I wish the real
That's
draft
not
was
normal
fast.
speed.
Yeah, like what? How's it? Like, bro, what is this? All right, so we got a crazy trade offer from Detroit. They want our 10th pick, and they want to give us pick 28, 60, 101, and a second rounder and a 4th rounder. Next year's second round and next year's 4th rounder. This, Keek, I don't know how you feel, but this dropping too far for me, so I'm probably going to reject this one.
Yeah, you're dropping too far, and I'm not trading with the division rivals so they can come up and get better, right? You know,
Right.
no way. You know,
No.
and I don't think I see a next year's first. It's a next year's second. Why would we drop 18 spots for a next year's second?
Yeah, we're not doing that. Reject. All right, so now we got the Bengals who want to come up to 10 from 17, and we give them a pick 204, but they're also giving us pick 49. So I'm kind of tempted to take this one. The problem is you can't really. I need to see who's on the board or who's off the board. So Shadur went first, Cam went second, Travis on the third, Abdul Carter fourth. Now I told y'all, I think I talked about if we keep the last time he was here, but I would not mind trading up to try to get Abdul Carter if that was possible. But he's gone. Campbell gone. Genty gone. Wow. Michael Williams, Malachi Starks, and James Pierce. So Mason Graham is still on the board, though, and I know a lot of Bears fans are really looking at Mason Graham. Also, one of my draft favorites, Mike Green, is still on the board from Marshall. And I mean, I think we can probably take that trade though and still get a decent pick at 17, and we will also acquire an additional second round pick. So I'm tempted to take the trade. What do you think?
Yeah, I do like the fact that we would then have what 3 second-round picks at our disposal to really round out our roster. But I also see Mason Graham on the board at 10. And I don't think Mason Graham's going to be there at 10 realistically. But if that is an option, I don't see a scenario, especially after watching the Super Bowl.
Right.
Ryan Poles passing up Mason Graham either.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I don't know what Bears fans are saying in the chat, what they're thinking. But I love this trade, but I also love Mason Graham out of Michigan.
All right. So apparently, according to the chat, there's still an echo. So I don't know why there's an echo. There should not be an echo. We had a problem last time too, and I thought I fixed it. Let me see. Okay.
I don't think I can hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you.
All right, can you hear me now?
Yes.
What? That makes no sense. So I turned off echo cancellation. All right, hold on. Let me go here. All right, you can still hear me, right?
Yes.
You can hear me?
Yep.
Okay, now I can't hear you. What the hell? God, it's so dumb. This is so dumb. I don't understand it. All right, can you hear me still?
Yes.
You can hear me? All right, say something.
Hello? Check.
Nope, I can't hear you. Damn, okay. All right, go back here. All right, can you still hear me? No.
Yes.
Oh, you can't hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear you now.
I can hear you.
Cool. Okay, I don't know what the hell going on. All right, hopefully the echo's gone. This is weird. All right, so getting back to the mock draft, man. I think we're going to take Mason Graham here at 10 because obviously if you can get Mason Graham, you got to get Mason Graham. So we're going to take Mason Graham at 10. But that trade was pretty enticing, though. I'm not going to lie.
No, it was intriguing to get 2 second-round picks, especially a lot of Bears fans will argue it's a deep defensive tackle draft as well. So that would be why you would trade down. But if you're already addressing offensive line and free agency and you're able to get, to me, a generational type talent of Mason Graham, the dude's ridiculous. I think he would be perfect next to Javon Dexter, Andrew Billings, and what we already have on that defensive line.
That'd be lights out, man. That'd be like that. Especially if we can get like a pass rusher too. All right. So here we are, pick 39, and we have another trade proposal from the Lions again. The Lions love it for some reason. It might be that Ben Johnson connection, but they want to give up pick 60 and next year's second round pick for our pick 39 and 7 and next year's 7th round pick. Now, we do have 2 second round picks though. We have 39 and 41, but dropping from 39 to 60, that's the 3rd round. I'm not doing that. So
no,
we're gonna reject that trade. And now
I don't know why the Lions keep coming. I don't know why the Lions keep trying to offer us. We're not trading with you guys. Stop calling.
We're not doing that. Now we got the Cowboys calling, and they want to come up from 44 to 39. So we'll get their 44 pick, and they're giving us a 3rd rounder next year. Okay. Maybe if it was a 3rd rounder this year, maybe, but a 3rd rounder next year doesn't really move the needle for me. So I'm going to reject it too. What do you think? Okay.
No, it doesn't move the needle for me. I need some picks this year.
All right. So that brings us to making the actual pick here at 39. Now, I kind of feel like there's 1 or 2 options here for me. Let me know how you feel, Keek. We can either go offensive lineman here, or we can go running back. And again, we have pick 39 and 41, so we can probably interchange them. But what are your thoughts?
I can't really see the screen too well from here where I'm at, but I really like that offensive tackle from, I think it's Minnesota.
Ezery, okay.
I can't pronounce his name. And the reason why I like him is because when you look at Ben Johnson's pass with Detroit Lions, they like nasty linemen with an edge, right? And that's exactly what he is, right? He finishes blocks really good in the run game. And I could see him definitely shifting over to the guard position, which is probably where he would be. Not really too concerned with short arms, right? They want guys that are strong with a nasty edge, right? That's what the Detroit Lions have drafted in the past. Of course, you have to have, technique and skill as well. But he is really intriguing. That's another guy that can possibly go in round 1. If he is there in round 2, that would be a good value pick for the Bears to kind of complete the offensive line, especially if we're considering for the purpose of this mock draft. We said that we already signed Drew Dahlman and Tyler Booker. You can now round out your offensive line with that guy.
Yeah, and also the Oregon tackle, Josh Connery Jr., who had a good week at the Senior Bowl, other than the rep that he got mollywopped by Mike Green, but he had a good week overall. So you got Josh Connery Jr. here. You also got Ezery here out of Minnesota. So you would say out of those 2, you would probably take Ezery?
Yes. I personally would, just because of just what I've read about what Ben Johnson kind of likes in his offensive lineman, just going back from his Detroit days and what, Detroit kind of has drafted in their offensive lineman. He kind of fits that mold of what Ben Johnson's probably going to be looking for in his new offensive line here in Chicago.
All right, so let's take a crack at it first name. So we got Ariante. Okay, I'm going to call him Ariante. That's what it looks like. Ariante Ezery. We're going to draft him because he's a nasty lineman. And then we're going to come here to 41, and we have a trade proposal from the Chargers. And they're picking at 55 in this round, so they want to come up from 55 to 41, and they also want to give up pick 86. Not a bad trade, but again, I don't want to drop 14 spots here. There's a lot of good talent still up here, this upper second round. So I don't know how you feel, Keith, but I'm going to probably reject this trade.
Yeah, I would reject that too. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Now the Rams want to come up, and they are picking 90. So I guess they don't have a second round pick. So they want to give us a 3rd round pick and pick 100, they want to give us 2 picks. Now, I don't know, pick 100 is I think pick 100 in the 4th round. So that's probably not going to be the third. That's probably not going to be a 3rd round pick. So they want to give us a 3rd round pick, 4th round pick, and then a 2nd next year. Again, I don't want to leave the 2nd round. So I'm already going to reject the trade too. So
yeah, I'm fine with that.
All right, so that leads us. So far we drafted Mason Graham, we drafted Ariante Ezeri. So we got a defensive lineman and offensive lineman. So here I'm looking at running back or pass rusher. Omarion Hampton's been talked about a lot as a quality back. I'm more of the lines of give me somebody like TreVeyon Henderson, but he's also available here. I'm guessing down the line too. We also have Jack Sawyer here from Ohio State, who's a very good pass rusher, and I think his teammate probably available too. JT Timolulalu, whatever his name is. I like him too. Yeah. I think he's better than Jack. I think he's going to be a better pro than Jack Sawyer. He showed me more of a motor at Ohio State than Jack Sawyer did, but Jack Sawyer pretty good too. So I'm kind of torn between going for Timoliau or going from Omarion Hampton. Now, the cool thing about this draft class, though, is that the running back class is deep.
Yeah. That's what I exactly was going to say, is that you could probably afford to take an edge rusher here and still get a quality running back in round 3. But, Vipe, I have to say that we messed up on that last pick. I didn't realize that Gray Zabel from North Dakota State was available, and we passed on him. He would be another very good option for the Bears, just due to his versatility. He had a very good week at Senior Bowl. I just didn't see him on the board. I would have probably took Gray Zabel just to go back a little bit. But
you're right. But Ezra should be pretty good too. Yeah.
But here, I would probably go edge rusher, just knowing how deep the running back class is. We're going to probably still get good running back in round 3. So I would choose between Jack Sawyer and JT. I think both are outstanding options. When you look at Jack Sawyer, I think he has more of kind of like that high motor. Like he's just like relentless. But JT, I think he will translate a little bit better in the pros personally. I think he did have a better year this year as well for Ohio State.
Yeah, from watching them both on in the highlight things from YouTube and whatnot, I just feel like JT is going to be a little bit better in the pros. So I'm going to personally draft JT because I think I like him better. But Jack Sawyer is going to be pretty good in the pros too. So you really can't go wrong with either one. But for this purposes, we're going to draft JT Timoliau. So that gives us one more pick in this mock draft, which is pick 72, which is in the 3rd round. So we'll see how the board lines up when we get to that pick. But I think so far we are having a very good draft. Like I'm loving this draft, man.
We just have to hope that one of those running backs drops for us at pick 72. I think that would round up this draft pretty well for the Bears to get some defensive line, offensive line, edge rusher, and then running back. You're complementing both sides of the football here.
Absolutely. And like I said, so far we have picked Mason Graham. Come on now, we picked Mason Graham, Ariante Ezeri, and JT Timoliau. So we got 2 defensive linemen, and we got 1 offensive lineman. So I think, come on, man. Oh, this is bogus. The Cowboys took TreVeyon Henderson just before we got, but Quinshon Judkins is available here. Ooh.
I like him too. He is. They are 2 different types of running backs. He is going to be a workhorse back that Ben Johnson wants. Doesn't have the same long speed as TreVeyon Henderson,
right?
But this dude will run you over and fight for those extra yards. He's good out the backfield. I would still like to see him develop a little bit more as a blocker, which can kind of hurt him because TreVeyon Henderson's more of a willing blocker.
Yeah,
that's something that he can develop into. Another name that I like, Vipe, I'm not gonna lie to you, is Tate Ratledge, the offensive guard out of Georgia. He's another guy that plays with that nasty mean streak. If the Chicago Bears really wanted to add quality depth and maybe have a guy come in and develop into a superstar as well, that could be another guy to take a look at. But for these purposes, I think the Bears should probably go Quinshon Judkins. If he's there, that would be an outstanding pick in round 3, in my personal opinion.
That really would. In real life, I don't think he's going to go to the 3rd round. I think he's going in the 2nd round, along with TreVeyon Henderson. They're both going 2nd round. I mean, there's talk that TreVeyon might go 1st round, depending on what happens at the combine. So I am going to go ahead and draft Quinshon Judkins because we definitely need running back, and the quality of running back that he is means that this pick, for the value that it's going to provide the team, I think this is the pick that we need to make right here. Although, to your point, Tate Ratledge will be a very compelling pick as well. But we're going to draft Quinshon Judkins here because the Bears need running back, and he is a damn good one. And to your point, he could be a workhorse back, a 3-down back. I mean, obviously, like you said, he will probably need to improve his pass protection, but obviously you can coach that up. So, yeah. I think, I mean, once the draft ends, we can go back and look at the picks, and I think we will come away very happy as Bear fans if this were to happen in real life. But again, this is the mock draft
If we get
simulator.
if we get Mason Graham at pick number 10,
Right.
I don't know. I don't know what I'll do. I'm doing backflips in my front yard. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. So the full results here, we got Mason Graham at number 10. We got Ariante Ezri at 39. Then we got JT Tumoliau at 41 and Quinshawn Judkins at 72. Do you notice something about these picks, Keek? Because I noticed something right away.
You tell me, what do you notice?
They are all Big Ten players. And I have no problem with that because the Big Ten clearly was the best conference in football, top tier competition, big time games every week. And all of these players are from a Big Ten school. So I think they're going to translate very well to the NFL given the competition level in the Big Ten. So I have no problem with these picks. The only thing that I wish is that Travion would have went at 72 instead of 71. I would have grabbed them up with the quickness, but you can't win them all in the draft. You do the best you can. And Quinshawn Judkins is going to be a damn good back himself. So I don't really have a problem with that.
No, this is a great draft. It's probably a little unrealistic because this is probably not how it's going to fall.
No.
But I think any Bears going to be happy with Mason Graham. But if Mason Graham wasn't there, I'd have been fine trading back, probably taking a guy like Booker out of Alabama. I think realistically, I think the Bears are going to be more willing or more realistically to get Will Campbell out of LSU, put him at the guard position. Also a guy that Ben Johnson, I think, is going to love because he plays with that nasty streak.
Yeah,
I think I would have took Greg Zabel over Ezri.
Yeah.
I think Greg Zabel, a really versatile guy, 6'7", so he definitely has the frame on him as well. Love the JT pick and love Quinshawn Judkins, but I wouldn't be opposed to taking Travion Henderson around 2 either.
No, I wouldn't either. So yeah, great draft. Mr. Inglewood says that why you pause the simulator and trade up to get your guy on these simulators. Yeah, I was kind of operating on the no trade thing for the most part, but obviously in real life, trading up or trading down is definitely an option. So I appreciate that comment. And yeah, I do kind of wonder if the Bears, because we heard Eddie George say in his interview with the Bears to be their head coach that they have Quinshawn and Travion on their board. So I do wonder if there's a world in where if the Bears feel like they would be worth trading up for if it comes to that, maybe the second round. Like, let's say the Bears, you pick 31 and 41 or whatever, and there's a world, or maybe the Bears, I don't know, maybe I'm just curious if the Bears would trade up to grab one of those Ohio State running backs if the opportunity presented itself. Because I don't.
Yeah, let's make things simpler here. How about the Bears address a bunch of needs and round out the roster in free agency? Let's say we do land Drew Dahlman and we do land Trey Smith. And let's say we do land maybe another guard. I don't know. Maybe they get all their needs in free agency. And let's say with the 10th overall pick, they say, you know what? Let's go ahead and take Genty out of Boise State. You just never know, right? The Bears can go in many different directions. They can trade back.
Yep.
I don't really see them trading up from number 10 unless Abdul Carter falls number 7. You better go get that bad boy.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that right now. That's just my personal opinion. But I think if they can get some needs, and it's going to be competition to get Trey Smith and Dahlman, right? There's other teams like the Patriots and the Commanders, right? That are going to probably need some more offensive line help for their young quarterbacks. But if we can, land some of these big fish and on our offensive line, Genty could be in play here.
He could. Mr. Inglewood says, I would love to see the Bears draft Savion Williams in this draft. Well, I'm not too familiar with him, but I've heard the name before. So apparently he must be another big time player that might be an option for the Bears in the draft. But yeah, here and let's talk about this Ashton Genty thing, because obviously this has been the topic of conversation a lot here in Bears world. I am not drafting Ashton Genty unless we draft or sign both Trey Smith and Drew Dahlman in free agency. Or at least at some point we draft 2 linemen. We sign 2 linemen in free agency. If we sign 2 O linemen in free agency, then I can entertain Ashton Genty. But even still, I don't know if I don't know. I think even if you sign 2 offensive linemen in free agency, their argument can be made that then you go D-line at 10 or pass rusher or defensive lineman or defensive tackle, whatever. Ashton Genty is a luxury pick, and I don't know if the Bears have the luxury of making that type of pick right now, given all of the needs on the line, either whether it be offensive line or defensive line. But here's the other thing, Keith. Ashton Genty is a game wrecker. Whoever gets him is going to be very happy. So if Ben Johnson wants to be bold, and we know that Ben Johnson is bold, if the man go for it on 4th down, he draft running back at 12 in the draft. We know if nothing about Ben Johnson, he is not afraid to, put his cards on the table and take chances. So if he would be so bold to go after Ashton Jeanty at pick 10, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm just not, because I know the type of player that Jeanty is, and I know how good Ben Johnson can be with running back. So I'm not gonna be mad about it. Unlike a lot of Bear fans.
Yeah, it's like if we still had Matt Eberflus and they picked Jeanty at 10, you would be like, okay, why are you picking Jeanty? But now you have a offensive mastermind in Ben Johnson that knows how to use his player. So obviously he would be drafting Jeanty for a reason, because he feels that he can elevate Caleb Williams. He said it himself that he wants to augment, and for people that know that doesn't know what augment means, it means he wants to better the running back position. He said that in an interview right after he was hired as the Bears head coach. He wants to make the running back position better. So there's going to be some changes, whether it's Jeanty at 10 or Travion Henderson in the second round. The Bears are going to either sign or draft a running back.
Yes, they are. I really hope they draft. I don't think it makes much sense to sign a running back. We signed DeAndre Smith. We're already paying him $8 million. Why are we going to go sign another running back? It makes no sense. Just go draft one.
No.
Especially with how deep this running back class is. What are we doing here? Just go draft one. You're good to go. What up, Brokey? How you doing, man? Good to see you. Hopefully you're doing well. Appreciate you dropping in, my guy. We just finished the first mock draft here on the channel. We'll be doing more in the future for sure, because it seems like y'all love mock draft content. I remember watching Bear channel last year blow up in subscriber count when they were doing mock drafts. So we are definitely going to be doing some more mock drafts on the channel. But yeah, to your point about Jeanty, I'm not going to be mad if Ben Johnson drafts Jeanty. I know a lot of Bear fans will be pissed. But again, we better be signing linemen in free agency if we're drafting Ashton Jeanty. I'm going to need you to go out there and get Trey Smith. I'm going to need you to go out there and get Drew Dahlman. Hell, you might need to go out there and sign at least a defensive lineman in the free agency if you're going to do that. You better draft. You better have linemen signed up if you're getting Ashton Jeanty in the first round. But to be real though, I don't see it. I just don't see it, because yes, Ben Johnson wants to upgrade the running back room, but he knows that none of it matters if you can't protect the quarterback or you can't give the running back anywhere to run, and that doesn't happen unless your offensive line is fortified. So I think he's going to fortify the line first. Hopefully, he'll do it in free agency and the draft. Because even if we sign 2 linemen in free agency, I still want to draft 2 more in the draft. So by no means in free agency the end all be all for upgrading the offensive line. We got to do it in the draft too. So, I mean, go ahead.
If I had to put my money on it, I don't think they're going to trade down or trade up. I think at 10 they're going to take Will Campbell out of LSU. They're going to put him at guard, and that's what the assumption of, landing Trey Smith, Andrew Dahlman, or it doesn't really matter if there's other guys out there too. I just use Trey Smith and Drew Dahlman as the example. So now you have the interior setup, right? I think as much as Bears fans hate on him, I think you're okay with Braxton Jones for one more year. One more year, because I think Ben Johnson can elevate his play. I think Ben Johnson's coaching style actually fits Braxton Jones better, allowing him to, to get to that second level, block on the second level, use his athleticism a little bit more. I think that would help Braxton Jones. You already have Darnell Wright. Your offensive line is much improved going into this year. I think in round 2, that's when I see the Bears pulling the trigger on the running back. Rather it's Travion Henderson. There's another couple of guys out there. Caleb Johnson is another intriguing name as well. I think with the second round pick, that's when we go either D tackle or pass rusher. I can see the Bears, since the picks are so back-to-back and so close, I can see the Bears going Walter Nolan out of Ole Miss, the D tackle with 39, and then running back at 41. And then in round 3, it's going to be more like best player available. Do not count out the Chicago Bears taking a safety in the NFL draft. Just due to the fact that Jaquan Brisker, his injuries, he has concussions issues, right? He has issues staying on the field. So do not count the Bears drafting a safety either.
I think it's almost certainty that they're gonna, if they don't sign one in free agency, they're definitely gonna draft one. And then probably the cheaper route will be to draft one with that maybe a 6th, 7th round pick draft the safety. So yeah, I see that happening for sure. Brokey says the premier positions are running back, left tackle, and DE. Bears obviously aren't drafting a QB. They should go left tackle or DE at 10. Let's say they go left tackle, then they should draft a DE in the 2nd round. Obviously with 2 second round picks, DE, running back, definitely. And to his point, his later point, the Bears will draft the running back in the 2nd round, lock it in. I agree, because again, if the Bears are truly, and obviously Eddie George said that in the interview, the Bears looking at Quinshon Judkins and whatnot, and Travion Henderson, but that might have just been smoke and mirrors. The Bears, hopefully they didn't reveal their draft plans to somebody that they knew they weren't going to hire. That'd be kind of weird. But either way, I think Ben Johnson is going to draft the running back pretty highly in this draft. I would imagine 2nd round, or I would imagine 3rd round or higher. Ben Johnson will draft the running back. I don't think he's gonna do what Ryan Poles done in the past and wait to the 4th round. Because again, Ryan Poles, his very first draft, drafted Treston Ebner in the 6th round. Where's Treston Ebner? Like, where I can't find him. Where's he at? And then he drafted Roschon Johnson in the 2023 draft. And that, I mean, the jury's still out, but by and large, pretty much he's been pretty unproductive to this point. So it is time to put a little bit more value on the running back. So I think Ben Johnson's going to do it in the first 3 rounds. More than likely the 2nd round if he's really looking at the Ohio State running back, because I don't see either of them falling past the 2nd round in real life. Again, they're talking about TreVeyon Henderson possibly going first. And if he goes to the combine and runs a 4.3 something 40, he might go in the first. Like, he's that good, especially with his pass protection. Like, because he not only can he run, he can pass protect his ass off. I mean, he knocked Mason Graham on his ass in that Ohio State Michigan game this year. Like, just knocked him, like, shouldered him, had him on the ground, fam. So TreVeyon Henderson is a capable blocker, not to mention his running ability and his flat out home run speed. Like, that dude is a legitimate threat to touch the ball every time he touches the ball. I mean, I don't tell him. He is a legitimate threat to score a touchdown every time he touches the ball. That's what I meant to say. He's a lot like Jeremy Gibbs in that way. So TreVeyon Henderson, I think he can really help his draft stock depending on how he performs at the combine. And I can't see him falling past the 2nd round. Now, he does have some injury history. I mean, he didn't get injured last year, but in the past, he's been injured. So they may take a look at that and be like, maybe. But he split carry with Quinshon Judkins last year. So again, you don't have that much tread on the running back tires as opposed to Ashton Jeanty that carried the ball 374 times last year, which is just, wow. Yeah. But TreVeyon Henderson is going high in the draft. He's going 2nd round or higher. So the Bears will need to pick him up early if they do that. And it would not surprise me if Ben Johnson picked him up, because again, he might look at him as a Jahmyr Gibbs. And I guess the real question, Keek, and let me know how you feel about this. I think the real question as it relates to running back, how does Ben Johnson feel about DeAndre Swift? I mean, because Ben Johnson let him go when he was in Detroit. So is he going to give Swift a 2nd chance in Chicago, or is he going to be like, get him out of here? I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. I think the hatred right now. I've been talking about DeAndre Swift as well. DeAndre Swift had a pretty good season behind a shaky O-line. He had 959 yards. I think he also had like 300 or something receiving yards as well, 6 rushing touchdowns. So it wasn't a bad year. I think what people don't like about DeAndre Swift is that his lack of vision at times, right? And his willingness as a blocker. He's not a workhorse type of back. He's not a 3-down back, really. But I think if you complement him maybe with a workhorse back, with like a Caleb Johnson, I think that would be good. I was actually opposed with the Bears possibly maybe seeing what the value is on DeAndre Swift, maybe trading him. And then I know a lot of people don't like him. Go get Najee Harris in free agency as your workhorse type of back, and then pair him with TreVeyon Henderson, the more of the speed back. I think that would be a good. That's just me. When you look at a guy like Najee Harris, he had 4 straight seasons of 1,000 rushing yards. Quiet. It's a quiet 1,000 rushing yards. He's also a willing pass blocker. He's not afraid to get dirty as well. And he's also a good receiving back as well. That's just me personally. But I think DeAndre Swift will get another chance. I know there's a lot of things because in Detroit, he dumped him. So we'll have to wait and see. But it also wouldn't shock me if they let him go either. And Ben Johnson says, hey, we're going to just start fresh here. I can't hear you again. I can't hear you. Yeah, I can't hear you.
Oh, oh my God. I am on double mute. That was a dumb thing by me. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I muted myself by accident. Okay. All right, cool. We should be back. Let me know if y'all can hear me. We should be back. But yeah, Ben Johnson, DeAndre Swift, we don't know. We don't know. But I was talking about Brokey talking about Ashton Jeanty going to the 2nd round. Not happening. There's no chance. The Dallas Cowboys will scoop him up at 12, if anything. We know that they are not averse to drafting running back high. They just drafted Ezekiel Elliott, number 4 overall in 2016. And we know how they need a running back. So, yeah, I can see him going to the Cowboys at 12, if nothing else. So, yeah, he's not going to the second round. Not at all. That would be foolishness, to be honest with you. So, especially with the resurgence of the running back and the way they're coming back in the league, yeah, he's not going to the second round. That's not happening.
No,
all right, Erica.
And I do want to bring up. I do want to bring up a point here about DeAndre Swift, and obviously when you're looking at the Philadelphia Eagles, their offensive line is elite, right? They've been that for years. Last year, DeAndre Swift behind an elite offensive line had 1,049 rushing yards, a 4.6 average, and 5 rushing touchdowns. Behind a subpar at best offensive line here in Chicago, he had 959 rushing yards, obviously 3.8 yards per carry on average, and 6 rushing touchdowns. So you're telling me if the Bears improve their offensive line, right? Would that mean DeAndre Swift would improve as well? He has that breakaway speed. Just that vision sometimes gets a little shaky, right?
Yeah, his vision
doesn't hit the hole hard enough sometimes. But at the same time, these are not bad stats. You're talking about almost back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons. So I do get the point with Ben Johnson when in 2022 he only had 542 rushing yards. Maybe he didn't fit Ben Johnson's scheme, but I don't know. I see a little bit more value than most do in DeAndre Swift. I would be fine with them letting him go as well if he really wants to restart. I just think he could be complemented with a Caleb Johnson as well, or even like a Cam Scatterby if you really want to go that route.
Yeah, I think DeAndre Swift has vision issues. He doesn't. Number one, he doesn't see the hole, or he doesn't get through the hole quick enough. And number two, he dances too much in the backfield. He doesn't just take the ball north and south. And I think that's the problem. And it's been a problem for the most of his career, which is why he's been bouncing between teams. And it's probably why Ben Johnson was like, yeah, you can't do what I need you to do. You got to go. But maybe I think Ben Johnson said that everybody's on a clean slate, so we'll see if he keeps DeAndre around. Well, we don't know. But I do think there's going to be some significant roster change because a lot of the team quit last year. And do you really want the bulk of that team coming into this year as a new coach when you know a lot of them quit? I mean, no matter what the reason was, they literally quit last year. Like, there were games that the Bears got blown out last year because they just didn't show up. So how much of those dudes do you really want in this locker room as you're trying to build up your own program as a Ben Johnson? So I think there could be some potential significant roster turnover, maybe some things that we don't even expect to happen that might happen this offseason because of that turnover. So I don't know. Everything is up in the air. Everything's on the table. Erica says, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, and I just wanted to, because I'm reading the comments as well. Broski Bear, he makes a solid point, and that's what I'm saying. I think we can keep DeAndre Swift. You just have to bring a workhorse back into the fold. Rather it's Travion Henderson, he's a workhorse type of back. Rather it's Quinshon Judkins, he could be a workhorse type of back. Just bring in a back to complement him. Right? And I think that would help DeAndre Swift, because now you can use DeAndre Swift not as a lead back, but just in certain situations. Right? And I know that some people are like, well, that's stupid because we're paying him $8 million a year. Why would we do that? I am just saying, I think it can work. It can work.
So to that point, Erica's asking, what do you think of being favored to land Aaron Jones? I would rather have him than Harris. I would rather have Aaron Jones too, but again, I don't know if it makes much sense to have Aaron Jones and DeAndre Swift on the same team, paying a running back that much money. And I know Ryan Poles is not really about that life when it comes to running back. So it's going to be one or the other. You're not going to have both. The thing that I can almost guarantee for certain is that the Bears will draft the running back in this draft. So it's either DeAndre Swift is going to be here or he's not going to be here. So if Aaron Jones is coming in, that means DeAndre Swift is on his way out. So I wouldn't mind having Aaron Jones, because Aaron Jones is a very good back and he definitely runs better than DeAndre Swift, in my opinion. But yeah, that would mean that DeAndre Swift getting cut. And then how much money will the Bears owe DeAndre Swift? Because I don't know what his guaranteed money looks like or whatnot. I just know he's making $8 million a year for 3 years. So you're paying him $24 million. Is that all guaranteed? Is it 2 years guaranteed? I don't know. So how much dead money is that going to be if we cut DeAndre Swift? I think that's the next question, and we need to figure that out. And to Brokey's point, he said Genty had a bunch of carries in college, and that's fine, but that doesn't change the fact that he was the best running back in college football, and he almost won the Heisman. In any other year, he went the Heisman, but he only didn't win it this year because Travis Hunter was invented in the same universe, okay? So any other year, Genty went to Heisman. So because he is good as he is, and because he produces like he produces, he's going first round. The wear and tear is not going to matter. Because here's the thing about Jeanty, right? Depending on what team he goes to in the NFL, if he's used correctly, there is no way in hell he's carrying the ball 374 times. Like in the NFL, his load will be a lot less if he's used correctly. So the wear and tear argument, why I understand it, I think that if a team is using him properly in the league, they will use him a lot less because you won't need him as much as they needed him in college. In college, he was Boise State's offense. Depending on what team he goes to in the league, he will not need to be the offense, especially if he goes to the Cowboys. The Cowboys, they got to run him. They're not running him 300 times. That Prescott going to handle that load. So he could have less wear and tear in the NFL than he did in college, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And to answer the questions about DeAndre Swift's contract, right? If we trade him, we would save $6.6 million with a dead cap of $2.6 million. But if we just cut him, we're only saving like $560,000, and the dead money would be like $8 million. So we would have to trade. We would have to trade him to save money.
And here's my question about that: who would trade for DeAndre Swift? Who? Like who's gonna do that? Especially with that contract, who trade him?
I really don't know. The Lions were able to trade him to the Eagles. What for? I think it was like a 4th and a 7th. Or something like that, something crazy like that. So if they really want to trade him, they would figure out. But then the Bears, in terms of contract, they would probably have to still pay, some of the contract to make it work. And that's what I'm saying. It seems like it's probably not going to happen. Like he's probably going to be on the roster just because of the contract.
Right.
And Ryan Poles gave him that money, that big time money. So.
I agree, Erica. I would rather have Jones than Swift too. I think Jones is a much better running back than Swift. I like Swift's home run speed, but it rarely comes into factor in the game. I mean, there was a few long runs he had this year, but I would argue that the long runs that he did have this year were more about his ability to catch the ball out of the backfield. It wasn't really him breaking off long runs being handed off the ball. And I do like the fact that DeAndre Swift is a good receiving back, but your primary objective as a running back is to be able to run the ball, whether it be between the tackles or the outside. And no matter what, he just cannot do that as well as other running backs in the league. So even though I know he's a great receiving back, he can't do his primary objective very well. So I would not be mad if the Bears got rid of him. I just don't want to be on the hook for all that dead money. So to Keith's point, I'd rather trade him than cut him. trade him.
The Bears are stuck with DeAndre Swift for at least one more year.
Yeah.
They're not going to cut him and have $8 million in dead cap, right? If they can trade him, you can save $6 million, but no one's going to trade for DeAndre Swift at this point. So you might as well just go compliment him in the draft with another running back.
Yeah. And again, like I said, I think Brokey said it, me and you said it. I think there's almost 100% guarantee that the Bears will draft a running back this year, for sure, without question. Yes. All right, so for those of y'all, a few of you all here came here probably in the last 15 minutes. So I'm just going to reiterate the mock draft results that we did earlier. Sorry that you guys missed the mock draft. I know you guys are busy and you got other things to do, but we did do the mock draft earlier. So just to go recap the results here, we picked Mason Graham at number 10 because obviously we had an enticing trade offer, but we chose to turn it down because Mason Graham was still on the board at number 10, and you can't pass that up. You just can't do it. And then at 39, we went with Ariante Ezeri, big, mean offensive lineman. And we know that Ben Johnson values violence and power in his offensive lineman. And Ezeri is somebody that can provide that. So we drafted him with the 39th pick. With the 41st pick, we had a toss-up between Jack Sawyer and JT Tuimoloau. I personally think that Tuimoloau has the better traits and will be the better NFL pro. So we drafted him with 41. And then with 72, we just missed Travion Henderson at 71. He went to the Cowboys at 71. We missed him. But we were left with a nice consolation prize and Quinshon Judkins, running back mate at Ohio State. So we took Quinshon Judkins at 72 because I think he's going to be very good in the league, even though I really do hope we find a way to land Travion Henderson in real life. I don't know how realistic it's going to be with his draft stock soaring up as fast as it is. But if we can figure out a way to draft him, I'll be uberly over the moon about it. But in this particular mock draft, we did land on Quinshon Judkins, and it's not a bad consolation prize. So those are the picks that we made. It was a 3-round mock, obviously. Didn't really feel like doing a whole 7-round mock, but this is the 3-round mock. Obviously, there was no trades involved because the trades were mostly garbage except for the one. But yeah, so let me know in the chat how you all feel about this mock draft. We're going to do more before the draft, obviously. It is mock draft season, and I know a lot of you all like mock drafts. So this is the one that we have for today. I mean, the other thing that I was talking to Keek about earlier is that we picked all Big Ten players in this particular mock draft. And I'm not really mad about that because the Big Ten is the best conference in football, clearly, this past year. I mean, just look at the college football playoff, and that'll tell you what you need to know about the Big Ten. And there are big games every single week in the Big Ten. And obviously, there's a lot of NFL players that come from the Big Ten. So the fact that our mock draft consisted of entirely Big Ten players, fine by me. I mean, enough of this Yale stuff. Okay? Enough of this Southern Utah stuff with Braxton Jones, okay? Let's go get some players who we know that can compete with the type of talent that they're going to be competing with at the NFL level. And having an entirely Big Ten draft, I think, is a good move if it were to happen in real life. But for this mock draft, I definitely approve of it for sure.
No, I love it. I love it so much. Like I said, if Mason Graham drops number 10,
bro,
I would probably end my stream. I'd probably end my draft stream and just be like, hey, we're done. We won the draft.
Yeah, the likelihood of Mason Graham dropping to 10, no. I don't see it, but it could. Here's the thing. I think there is a world where that could happen, but it really involves getting more quarterbacks into the top 10. And I think a lot of that is going to depend on what happens in a couple of weeks here at the Combine. They're talking about Tyler Shaw here out of Louisville being somebody that might be rising up draft boards. They're also talking about Jackson Dart out of Ole Miss that could potentially be rising up in draft boards. Now, are they going to rise up so far to be in the top 10? Probably not, but we know that a lot of teams in the top 10 probably need a quarterback, so maybe they'll reach. I mean, the Atlanta Falcons drafted Michael Penix in number 8 last year out of nowhere. Nobody saw that coming, and it came anyway. So it's not out of the world of possibility that a quarterback that probably doesn't belong in the top 10 get drafted top 10 this year. Because we know Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders are going top 10. But we need at least 2 more. So if any one of y'all want to present yourself as the top 10 quarterback between now and the draft, please do so the Bears can get some of these better players to slide down. Okay, let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy. The draft's always crazy. And it's a weak quarterback draft. That's what I'm saying. History shows that in a weak quarterback draft, maybe the Bears can take advantage and trade up.
Right.
Possibly, but I think Ryan Poles is more willing to stay put. But last year he did show the willingness to trade up and try to get Rome Odunze, right? So
yeah,
he's definitely thinking about being aggressive. And like I said, if you have a guy like Mason Graham or Abdul Carter kind of dropping down, they're at like that 7-8 pick. He may pull the trigger. He may pull the trigger and get those guys.
See, I think that's where me and you differ a little bit because the only player that I would consider trading up for is Abdul Carter. Like I can't really consider trading up for Mason Graham. I'm not really on that train, but I know a lot of people are on that train. But for me, if you're trading up for Abdul Carter. I'm not trading for anybody else but Abdul Carter. If he falls past 5, you got to go get him. You figure it out, make it work.
Yeah, he's nice.
Because that dude is going to be an absolute,
very, very good player.
He is going to be an absolute game wrecker. And if he somehow falls out of the top 5, then you got to figure out how to make that happen if you're Ryan Poles, for sure. What other Bears news is going on here? Let's see, what else is happening out here? Let me check the Twitter real quick, see if anything happened in our Bear world here. Also, I appreciate y'all being here. So thank you guys for dropping in the chat today. I usually go live every Friday here on the channel just to interact one-on-one with you guys. And I appreciate you guys supporting. I think we're currently at 718 subscribers. So we're on our way to 1,000. So if you know fellow Bear fans who are passionate about the Bears, let them know about the channel, man. Share the content out. Share the channel out. Bring people over here, yo. We're trying to grow the channel to big as we can grow it. So again, we're on our road to 1,000. So feel free to share the channel out if you can do that. And if you're willing, not saying that you have to, but feel free to share it out if you can, man. All right, bro. He says, I'm a believer you stick with Big Ten or Tech for your players in the trenches. Bam. Same. Again, I don't know why Ryan Poles went out his way to draft Karan Amagaji last year from Yale. Like, I mean, I know he's a good lineman, but come on, man. Big Ten, SEC, that is where the maulers are. Go get the maulers where they are. Stop trying to be all smart and stuff. Just go where you know the maulers are. And they're definitely in the Big Ten and the SEC. Go get the maulers, bro. Stop playing.
Yeah,
but to that point, I am curious to see how Karan Amagaji would do now that he's had a entire offseason to work out and he's coming off that injury and he should be completely healthy. So I am curious to see if he does like take a step up in his game, but still could have made a better pick with that third pick if you're asking me. Brokey says, I've been telling people for 3 years Abdul Carter is Michael Parsons 2.0. Yes, I'm a Penn State guy. I mean, he looked it, man. He looked the part. Again, there's a lot of people who talking about trading for Micah Parsons, and I think that will require way too much draft capital, not to mention the massive contract that he's going to command when that extension comes up. He's going to be asking for $40 million plus a year. No, just go get Abdul Carter. Go trade up for Abdul Carter. If you're going to do that, go get Abdul Carter. Like, what are we doing here? Erica says, do you think we will cut Kmet? No. We talked about this earlier. No, I don't see a world where Ben Johnson will cut a NFL-capable tight end, because who are you going to replace him with? That's the question. If you're going to cut Kmet, you got to replace him. Yeah. And there aren't really any options out there that are better than him, unless you're going to draft a tight end. But then you're entering into a crapshoot. If you draft a tight end, you don't know if he's going to be able to give you the production that Kmet has been given over the past 4 years. So no, I don't think we're cutting Kmet. That's crazy talk. I mean, I feel like, Keek, we are in the part of the Bears offseason where people are just bored, so they're trying to come up with random controversial topics to talk about, and that just happened to come up. But no, we're not doing that. All right, let's do it. I'm trying to check and see if there's anything going on here on the Twitter that we can talk about here. If you guys got any questions, comments, feel free to throw them in the chat. Yo, it's live stream for you all. Again, we did do the mock draft earlier. I showed you guys the results. If you want to go back and watch it in real time, you can go back and rewind to the beginning and do that. But yeah, this is live stream for me to interact with you guys one-on-one. I appreciate my man Keek for making the time today and hanging out. I know it's pretty early for him out there on the West Coast, so I appreciate you, man. If you need to hop off, just let me know. You're more than welcome to do what you got to do, man. I'm not trying to hold you.
My 2-year-old daughter keeps coming in, and she's ready to play. So
oh, you
I probably have to hop off. Yeah.
Hey, don't let me hold you back, bro. Do what you got to do, man. But I appreciate your time.
Yeah,
man.
I appreciate you having me on. I need to still have you on my show as well, so we can talk about football as well.
No doubt. Let me know, bro.
Yeah. I appreciate you, brother. Have a good one.
You too, man. Take care.
Yep.
Shout out to my man Keek for making the time, man. Always good to talk to him. Let's see. Mr. Inglewood says that Kmet take came from ESPN Chicago. Yep, that's why folks are concerned. I mean, you could be concerned, but ESPN Chicago has crazy hot takes all the time. I'm not that concerned because I don't think it's realistic, to be honest with you. It's crazy talk because, again, if you're going to cut them, you got to replace them. And you don't really have a good replacement. There's no tight end out there that you can sign that's going to give you the production that Cole Kmet gives you. That's crazy. You're not cutting a Cole Kmet. That's nonsense. This I agree with. I just put a community post up for you guys that there is some talk that the Bears could go after the Lions wide receiver Tim Patrick. I think he's a free agent, and there's some talk that Ben Johnson might sign him. I wouldn't mind. Tim Patrick did good with Detroit, so I wouldn't mind them going after Tim Patrick. Why not do it? He could be pretty good for you. So yeah, definitely go do that if you want to do that. But I also think the Bears will draft the wide receiver too. Now, how soon the Bears will draft the wide receiver, I don't know. Probably not before the 5th round because we don't have a 4th round pick this year. So it really depends on what wide receivers are on the board between the 5th round and on. But there's some good options out there. I like LaJohntay Wester from Colorado. I think he will be a great late round pick. He's a speedy, twitchy receiver, and I think he will give you more production than you would get out of a Keenan Allen who's like old and slow. So because I want speed at the wide receiver position. I'm not saying Keenan Allen is bad, but I need a speedy receiver that can actually threaten the defense. And I'm sorry, y'all. Keenan Allen's not threatening nobody. That dude's threatening no one. So I want somebody that can threaten the defense and go vertical. So I hope we do end up drafting or signing a speedy receiver at some point because I don't know what's going on with Tyler Scott. I have no idea what's happening with him. I don't know what his future is in Chicago. If he even has a future in Chicago, they didn't even use him last year. I don't know. Maybe Ben Johnson will find some use for Tyler Scott, hopefully. But I want a speedy receiver in the draft, and there should be a few out there on day 3. So I'm looking at that, and hopefully we can get that going on. The Bears also released an episode of 1920 Football Drive today, so I need to go look at that and check that out. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah. Also today, Ian Cunningham interviewed for the Jaguars job. Our assistant general manager, Ian Cunningham, I made a video about that recently, but his interview has been completed with the Jaguars. So there's a chance that the Bears will lose Ian Cunningham to Jacksonville, which, as I said in my video, is not the worst thing in the world. Because if that happens, the Chicago Bears do receive 2 third-round compensatory draft picks. So I'm not really against the idea of losing Ian Cunningham. I'm not against it. I'm good with it. Okay, let's see. Oh Lord, they hid the comment from Brokey. I'm sure you might want to reconsider how you put your comments out there in the future, my guy, because YouTube filtering that stuff out. But I'll highlight it here because I did show it. He said that Ben Johnson, Ben has a liking. I don't think he has a liking for Tyler Warren. I don't know about that. Again, Cole Kmet is pretty good. You don't really need to be looking at tight end. You like if Ben Johnson's looking at tight end, I think he's looking at the wrong thing. Okay, offensive line, running back, a defensive line. That's what Ben Johnson should be looking at in this offseason. Offensive line, defensive line, running back. You look at that, and then everything else will fall in place. Take care of the offensive line, take care of the defensive line, and you're good to go. We're good to go out here. All right, let me make sure there's nothing else before we move on here. Blah 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 blah. If you guys are liking the content, you want to support the channel, you do have the option to donate. The super chat should be on, so you can super chat if you want to. But personally, for me, it would be better if you donate via PayPal. There is a link in the description for you to do that if you are willing and able. It doesn't matter the amount, no matter how small, how big, whatever you could donate will be greatly appreciated. Your boy is going through some hard times over here, so any donation, you all will be greatly appreciated. I just appreciate you all constantly showing up every day that I put out content. Most of y'all know I put out videos Monday through Friday on here. And usually on Friday we do a live stream and we're here live. So appreciate y'all being here. But again, if you guys are up to and feeling able to donate, able and willing, feel free and consider donating. Again, doesn't matter the amount. So thank you guys. All right, let's see. Mr. Inglewood says the draft had better upside on the defensive line. That said, trade up for Carter if he falls, or trade back and get Nolan while stocking up pick. Yes. Here, I talked about this a few minutes ago, but I'll talk about it again. I am not against the idea of trading up for Abdul Carter. Abdul Carter is going to be an absolute menace in the NFL. And the Bears have not had a menace in a long time. So I think the last menace that we had on the team was Khalil Mack. And that was like years ago. So I am definitely not against the idea of trading up for Abdul Carter. Now, if he's gone, and he probably will be, or probably cost too much to trade up for him, then to your point, Mr. Inglewood, I would not be against the idea of trading down. Now, I don't want to trade down too far. I think my limit will probably be 5 spots. I don't want to trade down past 15. So if you could trade down with somebody to get 15 or higher, then I'm cool with that. But trading down is definitely something that should be considered to accumulate more draft picks for sure. Because as most people have been saying, the value of this particular draft is in day 2 and day 3. Mostly day 2 though. So if you can get more day 2 picks, the more the better. So I am definitely not against the idea of trading down, because that will get us more day 2 picks. Hopefully, you would hope though. Anyway, although I know if you're going from like 10 to 15, you're probably not. Maybe you might not get a day 2 pick, but I mean, you never know. You never know. So if we can do something that gets us more day 2 picks, I am here for it. Let's make that happen for sure. All right. Any last questions, thoughts, comments before we land the plane here today? Feel free to speak up now. Let me know anything you guys want to discuss. Feel free to throw it out there in the chat. We have been here about an hour, so I usually like to keep these to an hour or less. So, yeah, feel free to get any last questions in that you guys might have. Again, I want to thank you all for being here and supporting me and showing up every time I put out either a video or a live stream. So thank you guys for that. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. And the best part about doing the content is that you all show up and support. The reason why I wanted to do the channel, because I wanted to find people to talk Bears with. Basically, I found that when I'm on Twitter, I'm talking about the Bears nonstop. So I'm like, let me go just make a Bears channel so I can find more like-minded individuals that want to talk Bears, talk with me. So you all have showed up and supported, and I appreciate y'all. And we're gonna keep the thing going. And yeah, man, we gonna get it in. All right, Brokey has a question. How would the Bears address center? Resign Shelton? Possible, but highly unlikely. Actually, no, I'm not going to say highly unlikely, because Shelton could be a nice depth piece. But I don't think he's going to be the starting center next season. I don't see it happening. I think the Bears are going to draft one or sign one in free agency. Actually, they might do both. They're definitely going to sign one in free agency. I think they're going to go after Drew Dahlman of Atlanta. And I think if they get Drew Dahlman, then he will become your starting center next year. I also think that they could probably draft one or draft a lineman that can play center in the draft. And at that point, if you can sign Drew Dalman and draft the center, you don't really need Coleman Shelton anymore. So if we're doing it correctly, Coleman Shelton is not coming back. Like, no. Just go sign Drew Dalman and then draft a lineman that can play center, and then you don't need Coleman Shelton next year. You don't need him. He will be solid depth, I guess, but my argument is that we can find better depth in the draft. So, no, I'm not with it. No, thank you. Get out of here. All right, on that note, I am going to let you guys go. Thank you again. Have a good weekend. Happy Valentine's Day to all of y'all that celebrate. I know some people love the holiday. Some people hate it. Happy Valentine's Day. But the only thing that we care about here on this channel is that you all should bear down.